Hello, 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 amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. Whew, okay, I gotta really ground myself here to talk to you about the end of this year. OMG, what can I tell you? I'm still in awe that we're in December and that I'm on this mic and all the feelings that I'm undergoing right now. But nevertheless, amigas, I felt that it was incumbent upon me to show up completely and unapologetically and highlight some personal and community things. I would say some of it was hardships and some of it was wonderful. But I do, unfortunately, have to discuss hard things. But fortunately, I have to discuss hard things because it's important for us as amigas to be truthful, really truthful, because I don't feel that we should deny ourselves of our authentic feelings and what has transpired and the challenges that came with it and the uplifting of it as well. So I'm going to do community, but guess what, amigas? I'm going to tell you my personal, private situations that happened this year, and for which, of course, the only reason I'm able to show up here on the mic completely is because of your support and, as always, through God's grace. Okay, so it's going to be a little different, and it's just you and me, heart to heart, corazón a corazón, doing a real year-end review. No filters, no sugar coating. And also, no shame, okay? Because there ain't no shame in my game, and there shouldn't in yours as well. So this year, let's just get right into it, because earlier this year, we were gifted here in LA with a huge community calamity. And that was literally, it was the year of fire, literally and spiritually and figuratively and all the things. So as we watch wildfires tear through our city, displacing families, destroying homes, businesses, memories, I've got so many memories that are not there to bear witness anymore. And that is really hard as a native Angelina who has traveled through Malibu, all through LA County, and you all know to live and die in LA, right? Is that what they say? Is that what, at least what Tupac says? I wonder what he would say. I mean, who knows, right? To live and die in LA will burn this motherfucker up. Huh. That just came to me. Interesting. Anyhow, moving on. With this LA fires, the estimate of the turmoil caused over $100 billion in economic losses and destroyed more than 16,000 structures. And behind every structure, there was a family, there was a story, there was a nervous system trying to feel safe again. And I know that I have many friends who underwent such tragedy. And while our prayers were aligned with them, but it's something that will never will never be erased from our hearts and from our minds. And obviously, time does heal wounds, but this wound, it really runs deep as a community. And not to mention, like, months after, goodness gracious, if that wasn't enough, we then went to what was caused so much havoc in the immigrant population. Our immigrant communities, have been living with something that is all too familiar, which is the raids, right? Now, the raids now, because we have social media, they are on our screens, and it's so like immediately, and like everything, you are only demonstrated what is hardship, right? What the calamity is, whether it's being an apprehension of some unknown figure because they're using a mask. There's the separation of these families, a physical separation of these families. And you all know, I've been an immigration attorney for so long that ICE raids are not a new phenomenon. In fact, I would hear the stories from my family members who actually were fleeing for their lives with these raids. Back in the 60s, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2020s. It keeps going. And so I just want to provide a bit of context with that, because while we were provided with these visuals, so harsh visuals, even with politicians, I just have to bring truth and highlight that this is not a new phenomenon. In fact, the single year with the most recorded deportations was fiscal year of 2013, and that was under the Obama administration, where his administration deported over 400,000 people. And that's just documented from Pew Research, but obviously I'm sure there's more. And so while there's been record high deportations, I'm going to bring facts and highlight that this is not a new phenomena, but what is new is the fact that we have these you see this on your phone, and it just causes so much havoc to our nervous system. And I know that I've seen so much out there, but yet, amiga, in the middle of all of that, I'm also seeing a community that rises up, neighbors that are warning each other, lawyers that are offering their Know Your Rights workshops and passing new laws to require identification for immigration agents, which is fantastic. We do need that, especially because we don't want to tarnish our Constitution and not respect due process. And what was happening, at least what we were watching and seeing on the news and on social media, is these people with their mask on. And let's just say, they prepped us, right? Because we were forced to wear masks in 2020. So now we just gave them a blanket check of that's okay. It's okay that I don't get to see your mouth. It's okay that I only get to see your eyes. So, I just, think about that. Think about what we have allowed as a community to happen. Because things are not happening to us, they are always happening for us. So what do we get to learn from this, from all these circumstances? And yes, it was a year of loss, but it was also a year of resistance, of waking up, about remembering us as people that are powerful. We're not powerless, amigas. And so while these tragic community events are horrible, deplorable, I also want to say that we are stronger and we're better together as a community. And I want to admire everyone who stood up for justice and who stood up for rising and comforting and helping our community, whether it was with the fires or whether it was through these deportations, these raids. Now, I want to bring it home because while all these things were happening, our nervous systems were at all-time high, just as this community. But for me, it also raised not only my nervous system in terms of what was happening to my brother, my sister, my neighbors, what was happening to me, what was happening for me, actually, what was happening for me. Because here it is. My health this year was like a freaking novela. I'm not lying. I mean, as the novela was already happening community-wide, inside of me, there was another novela happening. Yes, my health went haywire. It went so yo-yo. I had hives. I had food poisoning. I had women issues. I had my nervous system be challenged. I had financial situations that just were, it was like the rug was pulled under my feet. And this was hard as well. And so, I mean, I was thinking, I'm like, Amiga, girl, can we not fucking continue with this shit? Like literally, like this was, I don't know. I cannot honestly say that there's been a year way more challenging than this year. But I'm here, I'm alive, I'm well. And the reason is because we have God in our lives, and let's not lose track of that. I mean, at least in what I believe is that, you know, Jesus suffered and died on the cross for us. Let us know that and believe so that we don't suffer. Really? I mean, like, we don't need to suffer. He already did that for us. And so that's what gives me a lot of peace, gives me peace when I get to surrender to Him, because I know there's nothing that I have gone through can even compare. Nothing, nada. So those were my health challenges. And at the same time, I was traveling all over Mexico for work, for joy, for family. And this body of mine was trying to keep up. Some days I was full in glam, mic in hand, hosting micro experiences. Other days I was in bed, en la cama, canceling plans and asking God, pues, ¿qué está pasando? ¿Qué más? ¿Qué más? And almost pleading. But I know, like I said, it's like I just surrendered to Him and put it all in His hands. And I know that no matter what, if I put it in His hands, all will be well. And so because I did, I was able to create these beautiful micro experiences this year. You know, spaces where mujeres could sip champagne, eat caviar, and have real conversations about money, calling of business, faith. And I loved every second. And I'm also not going to lie. I'm exhausted. I am truly exhausted. And I know that if you're listening, you're also feeling that too. You've been tired. You've been stretched beyond measured, accomplished but depleted. Isn't that crazy? I mean, really, we've been accomplished but not depleted. But I want you to hear this, okay? You're not broken. You're just at capacity. And so when do we get to realize when we are at capacity? I always talk about filling our tank and allowing to people live through your overflow. And sometimes we forget. And I'm going to tell you, I did. And my body was telling me, since the fires, was telling me there is something wrong, something's off. There is a disalignment. And so the short lesson here is that, you got to have your health. You really, really have to have your health. And when I look back at this year, I'm thinking there's so much that taught me. There's that even if you look at it as a struggle, it's actually a success, right? Whether there was a breakdown, there's always a breakthrough. So it really is about how do you see it? How did you see 2025? The fires were horrible. And a lot of people suffered. But even though that happened, don't allow that to consume you, amiga. Don't allow it to consume you. Because let me say something. When it consumes you, your body tells you, and it will react. And so here are a couple of my tips. So if this is the year that you felt like a yo-yo, I want you to ask yourself, where did I abandon myself for the grind? Truly, ask yourself, where did you abandon yourself? Also, where did I say yes when my body was screaming no? How many of us say yes when all you wanted to say was no? Where did God whisper, hija, amiga, I have more for you than this hustle? And I keep pushing anyways. We got to say that our body will not negotiate anymore. We're going to pay attention. You can love your work and still change how you do it. You can love your community and recognize its faults, but also know that it has medicine. So I want you to pause, and I invite you to grab a journal because we're going to do a little tiny writing exercise, okay? And they're just little exercises, they're action steps. And I know that you're going to take this to heart. So if you're driving while you're listening to this, you may want to pause this recording or actually listen to it tacitly and then take your journal and answer these questions. But my advice is definitely write it out. Answer these questions, amiga, because it'll make you reflect and it'll make you analyze. It'll make you pause because sometimes we don't do all those things. So here are the questions. And like I said, you can pause this episode and come back to it or listen right now. But promise me you're going to write them out, okay? Promise me. And I want to hear back from you. I want you to send me an email, Jackie@JackieTapia.com, letting me know your responses. Or send me a DM on Instagram, Jackie_Tapia.1. That would be amazing as well. Okay, so here are the questions/statements to help you in looking back at this 2025, okay? This year, the hardest thing I lived through was, and you fill in the blank. Again, I'm going to repeat. Number 1, this year, the hardest thing I lived through was. Number 2, this year, the most beautiful thing I lived through was. And you know what? It could be the very same thing because there's always a lesson. Again, number 2, this year, the most beautiful thing I lived through was. Number 3, where did I overwork, overgive, or abandon myself? And what did it cost me? Again, number 3, Where did I overwork, overgive, or abandon myself, and what did it cost me? Number 4, where did I feel God or my intuition pulling me towards something new? Where did I feel God or my intuition pulling me towards something new? Number 5, what do I absolutely not want to carry into 2026? Again, number 5, what do I absolutely not want to carry into 2026? So I just want you to write, no editing, no judging. This is your soul debriefing with you. You know, when you do events, you always do like a debrief. Well, look at it that way. This is your soul debriefing. So you just allow to say whatever comes to mind because that's your heart. That's God just taking your pen and helping you write the response. Amigas, those are going to be tough questions, but so important to answer. So important. So as we're looking into 2026, I want you to then look and pivot to your future. What are you calling more of, or what you're calling in for 2026? And I want you to organize them in a way that makes sense for you. And so just by way of example, I'm going to tell you the way I see my 2026, the way I feel most guided and aligned in 2026 as I'm giving you these pillars today. Hopefully they inspire you or raises your vibration or at least triggers something in your brain, in your heart, and your soul. So let me tell you. Pillar number 1 for what's next for me. So I'm feeling a strong pull toward more live podcasting and on the road conversations. Isn't that cool? Isn't that crazy? I did the on the road, what did we do? The book tour. Oh my God. We were doing the book tour. So now I'm feeling like, God, I think we got to do the on the road podcasting. I mean, come on. I want to sit con mujeres. I want to be in these real rooms at cafes, at studios, event spaces, and let you feel the conversation in your bones. Not just earbuds, but eye contact, hugs, laughter. Hey, you never know. Un tequilita, pues también, ¿no? O pues también un cafecito, nunca sabe uno, ¿verdad? So I see Amiga Handle Your Shit going on the road. Live recordings, curated audiences, maybe Q&As, prayer circles, business strategy, all in one experience. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that is brewing in my heart. And I think we are starting when this episode drops, I think a week or two later, I'll be doing a micro experience with my cousins at Dual Sculpt, where we're going to do it's like a live vision process, but it's leaning towards abundance and manifestation. So, hey, we're going to go there. Yep, we're going to go there. So that's, one thing that I'm considering and visualizing for 2026, and you're going to hold me accountable. And if you are out there and you want me to go live at your cafe, at your restaurant, at your business, let me know. DM me. And my pillar number 2, more micro experiences and events. Yep. Think high touch, intimate gatherings where we talk about money, legacy, God, and the reality of being a mujer, caring so much. Cards and caviar vibes, but also new formats, new cities maybe even more experiences in Mexico. I don't know. when this episode drops, I'll probably be in Mexico City. Guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be doing a lot of researching. Yep, amigas. I'll be out there checking out places because this girl is moving on up. Yep, she is. So I want Dios y Negocio to be the place where you can bring your spreadsheets and your prayers. Bring your P&L and your tears. Las lágrimas también. También están incluidas. So, amigas, what are your action steps for next year? I gave you some homework and some framework, some framework on how to go about doing it. So choose one thing that you are retiring, and what is it that you're refusing to do in 2026, and write it down, say it out loud, or tell an amiga. Another thing you can do also is build one sacred support system. Maybe you want to join Dios y Negocio. We have 3 offerings. One will be a subscription model, which you'll be having access to networks and masterminds and conversations. So that's one way. Also, you can schedule weekly walks with people. I mean, walk and talks. You know me, I like to do my walk and talks in the morning sometimes. Maybe you want to schedule a daily 10-minute prayer. Another thing that is coming up for me is that I'm probably going to be bringing back the novenas. My contemporary novena. So who knows, amigas? And there's going to be a lot of journaling. I feel like this is the perfect moment. We're building the scaffolding of your 2.0 life now with ease and grace and God alignment. So, amigas, surrender the hustle, rewire so that you can capture and grow into holistic wealth. Walk boldly, your God-led 2.0 life. Literally, walk boldly. So, amigas, here's the thing. Just once all is said and done, as you close this year, I want you to know that if you're tired of grieving, scared about the things that have been happening, you're scared about rebuilding after these fires, or you're just emotionally hung over from life, you are not alone. Nope. No estás sola. I know. I've been there. But I want you to know that you're loved, you are seen, and you are allowed more ease. Amigas, let's make a commitment. My commitment to you in this 2026 is to bring you more live conversations, more sacred rooms, more spaces like Dios y Negocio, where we do business con Dios al centro. Really. So, before I leave, if this episode spoke to you, please share it on Instagram, share it on Facebook. I would love a 5-star review, a review from you on Apple. I greatly appreciate it because only with these reviews will my podcast be heard, reaching out to other countries. And finally, amigas, gracias for walking this year with me. And remember that luxury is an inside job. Holistic wealth is your birthright. And you were never meant to handle your shit alone. Amigas, I love you. Best wishes for 2026. And this month, in the month of December, we're going to be sharing a lot of episodes. We're going to bring them back to the month of December so you can enjoy and reflect. And then in the new year, we'll come back fresh and new. So, amigas, happy holidays, happy new year, and I will see you in 2026.